boxing fans here in Manchester for Fight Week. Massive fight, Chris Eubank Jr versus Liam Smith. First of all, here with Spencer Oliver. Spence, how you been, mate? How's Christmas? How's your New Year's, mate?
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well, mate. Christmas has been brilliant. Spent time with the family, recharged the batteries, and we are back for a massive 2023. I mean, the start of it looks fantastic, doesn't it? I mean, this fight is a great way to start the year, man. Chris Eubank Jr versus Liam Smith. Real, genuine 50-50. You'll have an opinion, I'll have an opinion, Matt Macklin will have an opinion, and everyone else in here, but none of us will really know what's going to happen. I love these fights because you can see both guys winning. It's a great fight. And by the way, a brilliant undercard, because I know you're probably going to get into me about the pay-per-view stuff and that as well. The undercard is brilliant as well, do you know what I mean? Like Richard Riakporhe versus Glowacki, Esserman versus Congo, in another real 50-50. Jack Massey gets his opportunity, man, and I'm so pleased, by the way, he's getting that opportunity against Joseph Parker, and there's a lot of unknowns about Parker now, coming off that defeat against Joe Joyce. That was a crushing defeat against Joyce. You don't know what that would have taken out of him at this stage of his career. Massey, a cruiserweight, moving up, but mate, the 12 months that he's had, the turmoil that he's been through, his wife losing a couple of kids, him getting stripped of the IBO title, you know, working as a scaffolder over Christmas just to make ends meet, and then bang, he gets the opportunity to fight Joseph Parker. I mean, how good is that, mate? What a rocky story. Spoke to him in the week and he's like, mate, don't think I'm just turning up for the cash. I'm here to change my life. What we've been through, mate, this is the easy part. And I understand it, so I'm really looking forward to that fight as well. Great card, man.
Let's talk about Chris Eubank Jr, who's catching the headlights there right now. He's, you know, he likes to play that villain, the bad guy. He's changed his character in recent times. The bigger the fight's gone, you know, the bigger the character's become. What do you make of Chris's character?
Well, do you know what, man? Like Chris, for the first time, I suppose, in his life, he's gone from villain to hero, isn't he? Like, people are starting to love him right now because of, you know, what happened with him and Conor Benn and the fight breaking down for, you know, for the reasons that we all know. People have sort of taken a warming to Chris Eubank Jr. It's going to be interesting, actually, to see the reception up here because, look, Liam Smith, he's not from Manchester, but he's from next door in Liverpool. I know he's sold a bucket load of tickets. I know he's got a big fan base coming here, but I'll be interested to see the reaction for Eubank Jr. as well. Because like the last few months, he's won over the fans a little bit. He's playing a slightly different role. It's going to be interesting.
I want to ask you in regards to weight. We know what Chris had to go through in regards for the Conor Benn fight. Sort of drained himself out. Whatever he makes of him standing on them scales, he didn't look good from all. But back up to here, is it just better for him mentally, better for him physically, just to be back to where he is and where he's most comfortable at?
Absolutely. Listen, 160 is where he's comfortable, you know, and that's where he looks big, he looks strong, and there's a lot on the line here at 160 as well. This is effectively a final eliminator for Triple G, because that's the fight that they're chasing. You know, Triple G's at a stage of his career where he boxed Murata last time out, and yes, he got the win and he got it inside the distance, but there was times, mate, where he looked slow, ponderous, old. Timing is everything in boxing, and timing could be perfect for the winner of this fight, boxing Triple G. You know, I really believe that. So, Smith and Eubank, their careers are running parallel at the moment, whereas a loss for me is really damaging for both guys. More so for Smith. I think a loss for Smith, his career over. I don't think he'll have the appetite to try and rebuild and come again. A loss for Eubank, and then I see him going maybe chasing the Conor Benn fight. You know, if Conor Benn gets his licence back this year, which looks likely. You know, he said that he's proved his innocence. We're still yet to have seen that. The facts are still remain as the facts, but let's see what happens. You know, let's see what happens. I think we'll find out in the next couple of weeks what goes on with that. So, yeah, interesting, man. It's a lot on the line for both guys. Effectively, their careers on the line, so they're both going to give it 110%.
For that Conor Benn fight, Chris decided not to have Roy Jones Jr. training him. Now he's brought him back in.
Yeah.
Having this sort of indifference in regards to having a trainer and not having a trainer, how much will that affect the fight? Because Roy, from what we see, he's trying to add more arsenal to Chris's game. Yeah. You know, trying to work on the back foot, jabbing, whatever else. Do you feel like it's going to have an effect in this fight?
No, definitely not. I think Chris is one of those fighters that's always trained on his own. You know, he's always been with Ronnie Davis, who's a great trainer, trained Chris's dad, you know, Chris Senior, back in the day. Lovely guy, Ronnie, great trainer as well. But Chris has always done it on his own, you know. So he said the first real trainer that he's had that he's listened to was Roy Jones Jr. And we started seeing that. We saw that when he boxed Marcus Morrison, he looked like he was caught in between styles, didn't know if it was going to work for him. But then when we watched him against Liam Williams, you know, in February of last year, we thought, yeah, I can see it starting to come together. So I think it's a good working relationship with those two. I think that Jones has brought something to Eubank's game, and I think Eubanks is going to need some of them traits in this fight as well, because this could be a fight of two halves. I think that Smith is going to push forward. Eubanks, I believe, will start on the back foot and be looking to counter punch, but Smith's got a great engine, and he'll be looking to take Eubanks into the final quarter of the fight and see. Look, Eubanks is like, I know he's got that DNA, he's tough, mate, he can bite down on his gum shield. We've seen that before, like using George Groves as an example. He bit down on his gum shield in that fight. You know, he can do it, but Smith will be in his face the whole night, man. It's whether Eubanks has got the engine to go with him. I know he can bite on his gum shield, like I say, but will he be able to go with him? Look, it's an interesting, intriguing fight, man, because we don't really know how it's going to go, do we? You know, Smith could walk onto one of those Eubanks uppercuts because he comes in low. There's loads of ways this fight can play out, but there's a lot on the line for both of them, because it could be a career ender if either one loses.
Great fight. Another great fight I wanted to talk about is Richard Riakporhe versus Krzysztof Glowacki. We've seen Krzysztof Glowacki do his thing against Okoli and a few other fighters in that pack division at that time. Just talk to me about how big a step this is for Richard, and then moving on from this puts him straight into a title shot. There's good opportunities out there for him after this.
Massive opportunities out there right now, and you know what? There's massive opportunities because Boxer have got all the cruiserweights in this country right now. They've got all the top cruiserweights, so there's some big fights to be made out there. There really is, you know, for Richard. But he's got to come through this one against Glowacki, who's tough, mate. You know, he's very, very tough. Before the Bradis fight, you know, Marius Bradis fight, you know, he was widely considered one of, if not the best cruiserweight in the world. You know, a great guy, and then like he had that war with Marius Bradis, and then he's not quite looked the same since then. Against Okoli, he looked a shell of his former self, and Okoli took him apart. But Okoli's an awkward guy, big, long arms, awkward to fight. So I didn't read too much into that one. This is a potential banana skin, by the way, for Riakporhe. That's a great fight, man. Don't read too much into Glowacki, like a lot of people saying Glowacki's shot. Don't read too much into that yet, mate, because I think there still could be a little bit left in the tank. It's a big fight for Riakporhe, a fight that he has to come through, potential banana skin. If he comes through it, boy, like I say, like, you know, with Boxer and the stable they've got at the moment in the cruiserweight division, we're going to get some big fights this year.
So I think the ideal really is that he wants to pick up that other title from, wants to probably fight someone like Jay Opatai,
exactly,
probably call him back into the UK, and they set up that massive clash with Okoli. We know Okoli is sort of with Boxer right now, and you know, there's still some legal stuff going on in the background which might get resolved very quickly, but if all the belts are on the line, Richard Riakporhe, Lawrence Okoli at the O2, full sellout.
Makes sense, don't it? Like what a fight that would be. Listen, and put Chris Billam-Smith into the mix of that as well, mate, because what an incredible year he had last year as well. And yeah, he's going to be in the mix as well this year, you know. So looking forward to it, man. Yeah, let's hope that we get these fights over the line. We get these heavyweight fights that we've been yearning for the last 3 or 4 years, and we get, you know, these cruiserweight fights, because they're two very good divisions domestically at the moment.
Do you want to talk about the heavyweights? I've got a simple question for you. Do you think Anthony Joshua will become world champion again?
It's a great question. That's a great question. You know what? I know he's found his new trainer now, Derek James. I know what Anthony Joshua's like. He's one of those guys that likes everything around him to be in place. I think that's what he's been struggling with. There's been a missing piece of the jigsaw with Anthony Joshua, and that's finding the right trainer where he feels comfortable. I think he's found that now. So this could be part of the rebuilding process, because it's not physically Joshua's damage, it's mentally, psychologically. You know, that self-belief is gone, and that's what made him so dangerous. Now working with Derek James, who's a great trainer, you know, works with the likes of Errol Spencer along with many others. You know, this guy's been there, seen it, done it. He knows how to, you know, bring fighters through. Like I say, Joshua, they're talking about Jermaine Franklin, April the 1st. Then they're talking about maybe possibly Dillian White in the summer. You know, 2 tough fights for him there. And then talking about a Wilder Fury, you know, Wilder Fury sort of fight maybe back end of the year. That's the fairy tale. Whether we get that or not remains to be seen. But Joshua needs to fight 3 times this year. I believe this is the make or break year for Anthony Joshua. I think that another loss is severely damaging for his career.
That's why Eddie Hearn was alluding to. He did an interview with Coogan. He said, look, if he loses this fight, he's done. But if he puts on the show reel and knocks this next guy out, he's back on track. The names are again mentioned, Jermaine Franklin, like you said, and Dempsey McKean, the Australian.
Yeah.
He should technically do a job, right?
Yeah, he should, but then Jermaine Franklin showed us that actually he's not a bad fighter. Against Dillian Whyte, you know, that was a very controversial decision. Jermaine Franklin surprised a lot of people, and he will fancy that, you know, because like he felt he was hard done by against Dillian Whyte. He gets that opportunity against Anthony Joshua. They all know right now that Joshua is in this fragile state of mind. And like they go, well, if there's ever a time to beat him, it'll be right now. So they see that as a big opportunity. You know, Joshua is the golden goose of the heavyweight division. That's the cash cow. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, like, yes, Tyson Fury's the number 1, but what I'm saying is Joshua's where the bucks are. You know, for the likes of Jermaine Franklin, you know, for the likes of Dempsey McKean, who no one had heard of. I even had to Google him when he come up. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's a tough road back for Anthony Joshua. It really is, but you know, I believe in him. We go back a long way. He's a long-time friend of mine, and I believe that he can do it, but there's a lot of psychological damage that needs to be repaired.
So in the UFC, the main man from the UFC in the heavyweight division, Francis Ngannou, sort of got released from the UFC. Now, I probably want to talk to Adam Cattrall more than yourself because I'm not sure how much. But I was listening to Francis's interview with Ariel Helwani on the way down to Manchester. He said, I want to get into boxing now.
Yeah.
He does want to get into boxing now. So Ariel asked him, which fighters do you want to sort of get into boxing with? He goes, Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. He goes, I want their big fights. Tyson Fury and him are having a back and forth. Do you reckon that fight could happen?
Listen, Fury's an entertainer. Yeah, he's not just a boxer. That's what makes Fury who he is. That's why we've been remembered in years to come as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And that is a fact, by the way, because he's an entertainer. He's as good outside the ring as he's in it. You know when he's in the room at Tyson Fury. And that's definitely a path I can see him going down. You know, because that's what he's all about, man. Like, you know, that's a fight that I could 100% see happening. Fury is one of those guys that needs motivation. And that would give him motivation, you know, that was something that I think he would get up for. So he's talking about having 3 fights this year, and I can see one of those being with Ngannou, yeah.
But Ngannou's actually said he wanted to be a boxer before he became a UFC fighter, MMA fighter.
Yeah.
His goal and his dream is to be a boxer.
Yeah.
Do you reckon somebody could snap him up in the boxing game?
Listen, mate, stick him in, like, you know, I saw Derek Chisora threw his name in the hat the other day as well. Like, if he thinks he's a fighter, let's see what he's like against Derek Chisora. That'll give us a good indication of whether he can fight or not. Because you know Derek, man, he'll take anyone to the well, you know, and he'll bring it. So perhaps that's the fight we need to see before. If he comes through that, then we can maybe see him in with someone like Tyson Fury. It'd be a bit of fun, definitely, that's for sure.
It's the final 2 from myself. We spoke about Conor Benn just then. Conor Benn saying now he's in it, we're waiting for the statement to come out and him to stop fighting again. Do you feel like his credibility's gone, or do you feel like once the statement's out and everything's in the clear, his name is fully cleared?
Well, we just have to see what happens, don't we? You know, you know my feelings on it. I've been quite vocal about it, you know, to the disappointment of certain parties, but it is what it is, man. I'm only reacting to what I know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, he said that he's proved his innocence. Let's see it, mate. Simple as that, you know, and then we can take it from there, and he can resume his career and get on with it or whatever. But as it stands at the moment, nothing's changed. So let's just see what happens, and you know, let's see. Look, I was a fan of Conor Benn, a big fan of Conor Benn, and you know that. And what's happened is a shame. And, you know the 2 failed drug tests are a shame. But if you proved your innocence, mate, why are you taking so long to? You know, I know it's legally and this and that, but I would be shouting from the rooftops. So look, let's hope that, you know, things get sorted out and, you know, he continues his career, you know, serves his ban and whatever. I mean, it's all a big mess at the moment because, you know, you just don't know what's going on. It's like, you know, he gets this, he relinquishes his own title, disappears for 3 months. We don't hear a word from him for 3 months. Then we hear little bits, I proved my innocence, you're going to hear about this, I'm going to enjoy my Christmas. Now we're in January the 18th, 19th, still nothing. What does he want people to say?
Final question for myself. It seems that the Saudis are pulling out their money one more time for Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Crazy that it's in Saudi, but it looks like it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Just talk to me about that. A lot of people I'm talking to now are swaying towards Jake Paul. We know Tommy as a fighter. He's coming from the Fury family. In your eyes, how does that fight play out?
I think Tommy does it. I think Tommy wins the fight. You know, I know a lot of people are swaying towards Jake and everything else, but I think Tommy will get his arse in gear. I think that's been a problem with Tommy's in recent times. I think he's always had the talent, but I think maybe he's focusing. He's got a lot of focus in other things outside of boxing. You know, other businesses outside of boxing. Has maybe not been 100% committed. Maybe not been 100% committed. All good. So let's see what happens. Yeah, but Saudi Arabia, 25th of February. Yeah, let's hope we get out there, mate. I'd like to see it be a good fight.
Wicked. Spencer, thank you very much for giving me a lot of your time. No doubt we'll speak to you during the week. And Tom, man, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.